Welcome back to the channel. Are you ready to take your Pokemon ROM hack to the next level? In this video, we'll dive into creating a custom region map, one of the most exciting ways to make your game feel truly unique. We'll walk through every step of the process, from designing your map to implementing it into your game. By the end of this video, you'll see how to bring your vision for a brand new region to life, complete with towns, routes, and landmarks that set the stage for your adventure. If you've been enjoying this series, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for even more ROM hacking tutorials and Pokemon Centennial updates. Now let's start building your custom region. Fair warning, this tutorial will go through this Pokécommunity thread. It does get a little messy. It took me a little while to go through, and I thought, hey, this would be a great thing to put in an easy, concise video format because it is kind of a hard thread to follow. There is a lot of the first information, really good information posted, but it is old. The pictures are kind of missing there. It's kind of what it is. Could be a little tough to follow. Doesn't give you as much information as you might need. Once we get down to this second user, they kind of add some of the pictures that was missed from before, give you some of the same advice, but it is missing a little, gets a little tricky. It took me a couple of tries to figure out. But we will be basically walking through the steps of this, but a little simpler. So I will leave this link down below in the description as well, just so you can take a look at this page if you really want to. The first thing we need to do to implement a custom region map into our game is to actually create the custom region map using an image editing software. You can use whichever software you'd like, but I'll be using GIMP in this tutorial as it is free to download and I'm most comfortable with using it. The first step will be to create a new image. So you can go up to File and New. You're going to want it to be 256 pixels by 160 pixels, and we'll click OK and create that. I am just going to zoom in so I can see better, make it easier to see where the mouse is going. I don't like this all white background. I'm going to actually create a new layer that'll create a transparent background for me, and then delete that white background layer. That's just how I like to do it. You can do it however you want. Next, we'll need to set up a grid to make creating the map easier. So if you go up to Image and Configure Grid, you're going to want it to be an 8 by 8 grid under this spacing. That'll be 8 pixels by 8 pixels. This is to match the cursor size for the region map, and it'll make it easier for you to go and do all that. So we're going to click OK on that. And then we'll actually want to show the grid. So we can go to View, and we'll go to Show Grid. That'll pop up the grid for you. And I like to do Snap to Grid just to be safe. The first thing to note is the image size that we have here is larger than the area that the cursor can navigate within the region map. The upper leftmost corner that the cursor can go starts at 3 tiles down and 1 tile over. So I'll be at the top here, and we can see 1, 2, 3 tiles down and 1 tile over. Ooh, I keep zooming in too far. And I'm going to color that one in just so we can see. See, this is getting finicky on me. Ugh. So we'll color this one in. And you can see that's kind of where it lives within the region map. So that's the first start. This upper leftmost corner, that's the farthest spot up in the left where you'd want to put a city or a route or something where you want the cursor to be able to access it. This goes, if you go 28 tiles to the right, including this tile, and then 15 tiles down, including that tile, that's the entire kind of, I'd say, mappable area actually. That's where the cursor is able to go. This is where you would want to put all your cities, routes, towns, and everything to be in range within the city map. Another thing to note before finishing up is that the region map can only have a maximum of 16 colors. We'll double check this in a later step when we're looking at the color mode. But try not to use more than the 16 colors to make it easier on yourself. Things won't change when we do that other color mode. Just make it easier on yourself. Don't use more than 16 colors. Now just go ahead and create your own region map. make it look how you want. I am going to go create mine for my Pokemon Centennial game, and then we'll be back to cover the next steps. All right, so I have my region map kind of all drawn up here. You can see it started on this. So I have my different layers, different textures. The grid's on. You can kind of zoom in and see how it was built. I kind of looked at the Pokemon Emerald region map to see what was needed. I actually went into the color and clicked this color dropper and found the colors on the region map. So I used kind of the base colors that you want. One of the big things is you can only have a max of 16 colors in the GBA palette sets. So you're going to want to make sure you're not using more than 16 colors. So that's kind of why my ocean is just pretty plain. You can see I have my kind of the mountain range along the left side here. You can see in the elevation, I have all my routes set up. The next big thing we're going to do before we export the image is we want to change it. The color mode needs to be indexed. So you can go in GIMP, it's image mode, and you want it to be indexed. And then the maximum number of colors that we can have is 16. So you're going to want to convert to that. That'll just change kind of the color mode. And then you're going to want to export it as whatever you want .png. So I already have mine exported, but you're going to want to go ahead and do that. Once we have that part, then you should see you just have a PNG of your region map. I'll zoom in, but that's the 256 by 160. Your region map's all set. That's how it'll look on the map within your game for the most part. And that's all we need for GIMP. Once we have the region map created and saved as a PNG with indexed coloring, next we'll want to open up Tilemap Studio. If you don't have Tilemap Studio, it's going to be pretty simple, easily downloaded. Just Google it, and it'll be the GitHub page. Follow the directions to install it and get it working on your computer. It will only open on Windows and run on Windows. So if you have Mac or Linux, you'll have to find another way. On my Mac, I'm just using VMware Fusion to do a Windows environment. Once you have Tilemap Studio downloaded, open it up, you'll get to this type looking page. And the first thing we're going to do is create the .pal file. This is the trickiest part, I would say. But for step one of that, we're going to do tools and image to tiles. The input is going to just be our region map PNG that we did. The output, we'll just put tileset.png. It's going to be plain tiles here. We do want palette checked. Instead of indexed in tileset image, we want it to be Paint Shop Pro, the JSC-PAL. We're going to start at $70 for our indexing, just the way you have to do it, and click the color 0 checkbox, and it should be this nice magenta color. We'll hit OK. It'll make this. It should be in this weird grayscale black and white. That's how it's supposed to be. We're going to now get stuff set for the other .bin files, but we're going to go redo this again, do our normal map. We're going to name it tileset again. And this time, instead of the JSC.pal, we're going to do index and tileset image. Keep the 70 the same, keep the color the same. This all works. So now we have our nice, what will be our map.png and region map.png. And then this is what it'll look like when it comes into the tile set. We are going to have to edit the .pal file. So if you go in to the folder where you have it, this tileset.pal, and open it with a text editor. These first 4 lines you're going to want to keep. Next is a bunch of zeros, which means all black. We're going to want to scroll down until you get to this chunk of code. We want to highlight all but this first 255.0.255. That's the magenta color. We already have that. I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to replace all the 255s here with 0. And then we're going to go up at the top under this 255.0.255. We're going to paste in what we had, and then I'm going to save that file. This is just kind of trimming up, re-putting our color palette at the beginning. For the JSC PAL, it tells you what type of format. what version, how many colors there are, and then it's the first color down to the rest of the colors we need. And then to get to the 256 colors, the rest are just all black. We don't need that. But we are done with this .pal file. We'll go back into Tilemap Studio. And the first thing we're going to look at now, we're going to do the Pokenav/region map and then map.bin. For this one, we're going to go to Tools and Resize. When it first opens up, it should be centered. You want to click this upper left-hand corner, which means we want the map in far upper left-hand corner. We're going to make this one 64 by 64 and click OK. That's all we need to do for this. We can go to the tile map, save as, and we want this one to be map.bin. That one's saved. Perfect. So that's all good. Here we want to reopen back up our tilemap file. Plain tiles is fine. This is back to the original setup. Now we're going to be working on the Pokédex/region map _bin file. For this one, gets a tiny bit trickier, but we'll walk it through step by step. We'll go Tools. Oh, not image to tiles again. Tools, Resize. This one's still in the upper left. This one we want it to be 64 by 32. Here's where the fun comes. This outside this dark green, this is my first tile in my tile set. We're going to want to actually vertically slice and have basically a whole row of that in between everything. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to right click, copy this whole section, move it one space over, right click again, copy this, enter it here. I'm going to keep doing that. Go to the next one. I'm going to copy there again, go 2 over, and you'll eventually do this for the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead till I get this all finished. You don't have to watch it. It takes a little bit of time, but I will show you the finished product in a second. All right, so this is what the end product should look like. You have this green, full green space, or whatever your first tile here is, in between all of your sections. It's kind of like the map is windowed. Once we get done here, we follow the same thing. We'll do tile map, save as, and this one is going to be region map.bin. And that's saved, and that is all we'll need to do in Tilemap Studio. Next, we'll kind of cover how we need to actually input the files into our project. So now we're going to look at how we need to move the files into our actual Pokémon expansion file projects. We are going to put stuff into the Pokénav and the Pokédex locations within the graphics. So the map.bin right away is going to go into our Pokénav. These are just temporary spots, and we'll move them into the actual Pokémon expansion later. And then the region map.bin is going to go into the Pokédex folder if it wants to move for me. Gotta love trackpads. Pokédex. The tileset.pal and the tileset.png are going to be copy and pasted into both. We'll copy paste it in the Pokédex one, and all the prefixes need to match. So in this one, it'll be region map.pal, and rename this. It'll be region map.png. We'll go back to the Pokénav one now. We'll paste these two items. Rename this. This one's a little bit easier. Less type is just map.pal and map.png. Now these are ready to be put into our actual Pokémon expansion locations. We'll copy all these from the Pokénav first. So let's copy these. We'll go into our Pokémon expansion. We're going to want to go into graphics. First one, Pokénav, and then it'll be region map. We're going to paste these three items, and yes, you want to replace what we already have. We're going to go back. Now we're in the Pokédex. We're going to copy these three. Now move the trash, copy. Then we're going to go we should be one more back. We should be in graphics again, Pokédex. This one is all good. And we paste the items into there, again, replacing all three. We have that. That should work. We're going to go into Porymap and check to see if everything's working right. So open up Porymap. We can make sure that we are in the right folder that we want to be. This one I'm actually implementing it into my Pokemon Centennial one. So I'm in here. That's opened up. To open up the region map stuff, you can go to Tools and it's Region Map Editor, or it's Command M or Control M. It's going to say the region map configuration is not found. You must set it up. This one we're going to want to use the Pokeemerald defaults, and let's just go into the Hoenn map. This should look like our map. This looks good. Let's check the Pokédex area screen. That looks like our map. Everything is looking pretty good. We're going to call that good. We're going to give a quick save and exit out of there. Now we can go into our make file, or I mean, not our make file, but our just general file structure. First, we're going to do a make clean. This will kind of clean up the files that we need, do everything else we need to do. And then we can run a make. This is going to take a little while. We can see if we get any errors or not here, but I will let this pause once it starts running and catch back up to you once it completes. So my make finished, and I noticed I did get an error, which is kind of exactly what I wanted to happen. It tells me right here, the specified number of tiles, 232, is greater than the max possible. So that's saying 232, what the original one has, is greater than what I have right now at 128. So to fix this, we're going to want to go into, it'll be the graphics files rules.make. And I'm going to just search up a 232. And that's right here in the region map. And I'm going to switch this to a 128. I'm going to copy this number because I know the region map affine, that's going to say the same. We didn't update that. But then also it'll be up a little bit under, let's just search region because I've done this before. If you try to run it again, we will get the same error. But for this one in the PokeNav region map, we want to change this one to our whatever tiles it says for you under there as well. Once we do that, and then we can make the file, then we should have no problems. We can go actually and test our game. I will get back once this file makes for me, since it is going to take a while. Alright, as you can see, this time the make ran. There's no errors with anything. I knew the first time there's going to be errors because I didn't really know how many tiles I had. If you know how many tiles you have, you can update this before that first make. But now everything is made, and let's go check out and see if this new region map we implemented is in our game. I'm going to go back to, we're in Pokémon expansion. We're going to open up our ROM. And I have a nice save here. We can already check it out. I'll go back up to the room. And you can see, here's my map. Now, all the towns are still kind of messed up. It's not changed. I'm technically in this town right here. We will get this figured out. This can be in another video to go over how to update the locations on the map. But for right now, as you can see, we implemented our own custom map in the region.